Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. This is Victoria with The Lonely Entrepreneur. Hope everybody's doing great. Let's see, we're going to give it a couple more minutes for folks to jump on. Hey, Michelle, great to see you here. Tazeen, hi there. Hi, Syed. Here we have a couple more folks connecting. There we go. Hey, Michelle. All right. All right, so while we wait for everybody to jump on, hello. Just want to give everybody just a quick reminder. We really want this to be interactive, and especially if we have a smaller group. So please feel free to jump in and ask questions. And it's totally okay if they're a little bit, off topic. We're here, we allocate this hour, for everybody in the learning community. So please, take advantage. And as a reminder, today's call is all about, how do we address resource allocation problems when it comes to us being the entrepreneur, the leader. Hang on, Michelle. Let's see why that is. Sorry, Michelle just said she can't unmute. Hey, Michael, are you able to unmute?
Let me see what I can do. No, it just says ask to unmute.
Try that.
Try that for a couple of folks.
Michelle, see if that works.
Doesn't seem to be working.
Let's see. Syed, you can unmute, right?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Let's see. All right. Sorry, folks. Let me just try to figure this out real quick. Tazeen, are you able to unmute? Okay, I will try to work on this as we get going. So Michelle, hang in there for
yeah, I can unmute. I did that.
Okay. All right. So Michelle, you're just getting an error saying that it won't allow you to unmute. So it must be something on yours because it looks like everybody here is able to unmute. Just double check your settings on your end and I'll dig into ours here. We obviously want to make sure everybody's able to talk. Okay, so I was just saying, today's topic is all about, learning about how to address resource allocation problems and that whole intersection of decision-making and operations management. And obviously super important topic because, when it comes to starting and growing a business, as entrepreneurs, as the leaders of our organizations, the decision-making, especially in the beginning, often kind of rests on our shoulders, right? And so our ability to make decisions, to really operationalize the business becomes crucial to our success. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And like I said, because it's a smaller group, please feel free to jump in and, we're happy to get into your specific, companies and issues and questions that you have. And like I said, it's okay if we veer a little bit off topic, especially because it's a smaller group. We just want to, really be able to help. So with that said, welcome again. And Michael, off to you.
Thank you. Good to see everybody again. So I think that, one of the things that we really, think about when we talk about resource allocation is the symptoms, if you will, or the end result, if you will, of not doing certain things. So if we leave it to kind of our entrepreneurial journey to kind of take the journey on its own, we walk away feeling if we have 100 hours of work and 10 hours of time, right? And it seems like that's just always the necessity. That's always going to happen that way. And that's not really the case. If you look at larger organizations and larger companies, all of them have more to do than they have time. Okay, now they have systems and processes and people and stuff that early stage companies don't have, right? But they all have more to do than they have time, and they run really big, complex organizations. So the end result of us not doing some of the things that I'm going to talk about here result in that feeling, and of course the scarcity of resources. Secondly, is it's even more important when we don't have people and we don't have processes and we don't have structures and we don't have all the capital we need to really make sure. What I'm going to spend a good amount of time talking about today is that the things that you're doing and the resources that you do have and get are completely aligned to the most important things that you need to get done. Okay. And I don't want that to be just conceptual for people. Like, it's not just this concept, oh, I do the most important things. It's how do you, as an improving entrepreneur, align your scarce resources to the things that are the most important things for advancing your company. Okay. Now, those scarce resources can often be, a hodgepodge, as we like to affectionately call it, our dysfunctional families, right? Those families are it's a part-time employee, it's an intern you got, it's somebody on the board of advisors, right? ... It's friends that are willing to help. Okay. And you've got this kind of hodgepodge of resources, and you try to figure out, okay, well, how do I allocate these? And what your job is to do is to really define the most important things for your business, as we like to say, your priorities, and then align the scarce resources that you have, right, through process and metrics, things we've talked about before, to make sure that those scarce resources are properly allocated so you can accomplish the most important things. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Let's assume that you want to go raise $50,000 for your company. And you've got an intern, and you've got a friend that is a finance person, right? And you've got you, and you say to yourself, well, okay, how do I take that priority and operationalize it by aligning what we have to it? And this is where regular process becomes really important, because if you just let everything go to its own devices, then there's chaos, right? And so you have to say, okay, I have this priority because I have a goal of raising $50,000 in 90 days. Okay. How do I organize the scarce resources of a company aligned to that goal, knowing that there may not all be full-time, some may be doing it for free, right? We don't have all the expertise that we need. So that's where your process comes into place. That's where you say, great, this is the goal. We're gonna have a meeting every Tuesday at 10 to 11. And all of these resources are going to play a part and chip away at it. Okay. Now, chipping away are the bits and pieces that these resources can do, right? But it also has to take into account that if you have somebody as an advisor for 5 hours a month or 10 hours a month, you've got to make sure that you create the expectation for that advisor, not that they're going to do 50 hours, but in using those 10 hours, is that advisor appropriate for this particular objective, right? If it isn't, do I have to maybe get another advisor? And how do I take those 10 hours and make sure that in this regular process, everybody is contributing as parts of a team to get to and chip away at this goal? Okay, so it's not okay to say, well, I'm an entrepreneur and I have to do everything, and therefore I'm overwhelmed and I feel that way all the time. What you have to do, and what results in better performance and more effective evolution of your company, is I set priorities, I build a process, right? And I align whatever resources I have to that particular process, okay? Now I picked money raising, but what if it's launch your website, right? Okay, we want to launch our website and I've got an advisor that does this and a marketing firm that does this, or a, right? Same type of thing. How do I take a process and measure it, right? That every week we're going to come together and everybody's going to do their part. It's not going to be perfect, but at least you've got a structure to take advantage of the scarce resources that you do have, right? To be able to have a better chance of success. Okay. So this is a fundamental concept of why a lot of entrepreneurs struggles, because like, if I asked everybody the question, is everybody here not working really, really hard? Of course you are, right? The question is, are you working on the right things? Do you have a structure in place to make sure you're doing it as efficiently as you can? And are you taking your dysfunctional family of resources, right, and aligning them, given their skill sets, given how much you pay them, given how much time of theirs that you are fortunate enough to have, and putting in that process and aligning it to the things that you want to try to chip away at. Okay, let me stop here and see if anybody has any questions, or anybody experiences kind of doing this or not doing this, and what the implications are. Anybody want to chime in?
And folks, don't be shy. If there's anything, that Michael's talking about, that you want to dig into, or have specific questions around your business, please feel free. I think we're good for now.
Okay. So obviously what goes with that, right, is the notion that you're going to, set these key priorities. Okay. So let's take my example of raising money. So when we get down into that and we build our process and we have our regular meetings and we bring our colleagues to the table that can help us, then the next step you take to be more efficient at it is, okay, well, I'm in this meeting every week. What are we going to do? And how are we going to organize it? And that's where some of the tools you use can really be effective, right? There are basic project management tools, right, out there that are, maybe not all free, but very, very inexpensive. We use something called Asana. There's plenty of them out there that basically help you say, okay, how do I break this down into a plan? Right? Because let's use the analogy, I've used this one before, about you're running a charity event. Forget about raising money. You're running a charity event. You need to raise $50,000. You need to make all the pieces come together. You're going to have a meeting every Tuesday where everybody working on it is going to come and do it. That's pretty good. But if you had an actual plan, right, that said, okay, there's one thing we have to do is we have to go get the space for the charity event. And there's 3 or 4 tasks under that. Imagine if you went to that meeting every week, you have that plan and you go, great, let's talk about the space. Who's in charge of the space? Joseph, you're in charge of the space. Great. How are we doing? Well, I did this. I didn't do this. We got this done. I need help here. Okay. So the more structure you bring to the table in the form of the process to measure it, right, in these regular meetings, by using these basic tools, and they don't have to be used like full project management tools, right? You don't have to create every single date and every single, dependency. Once you do this, you do that. You could just simply be, yep, get the space, 3 things, get the food, 3 things. But what becomes hard in our entrepreneurial ventures is when we have to make it up every time. Do you guys feel sometimes when you go into your companies and you talk to your people and you tell them and you walk away and a week later you come back and you feel like you never had the conversation, right? People need structure. They need consistency, right? So when you have every Tuesday, we're going to have the meeting on the charity event and everybody pull up the project plan and let's go through it. That type of structure takes your scarce resources and makes them as effective as they can be. Okay, so let's imagine that somebody's putting together a flyer for that and you've hired somebody from Upwork to do that or from Fiverr to do that. Well, the person responsible coming to the table says, yep, we've got this, it's due in a week. Everybody's going to get a chance to review it and we'll and we start to chip away against these things. Because remember, the easiest thing to do as an entrepreneur is to just do something. I'll improve my product, I'll improve my website, I'll put a piece of content out there. I shouldn't say the easiest, but the thing that's right in front of us. But when we're really thinking about the goals we're trying to achieve, right? I want to launch a new website in 90 days, right? It's not, okay, I did all my other work and then on Saturday, I'm going to do all the work I need to do. It's set a priority, build a process, build tools around it, and align whatever resources you have to that goal. Now, the good thing about that is when you have that process in place, you can put other resources on top of it. You can go to another colleague and say, hey, would you mind helping us with the charity event? And they'd say, great, awesome. We've got this meeting on Tuesday. Here's the project plan. Let's talk about which piece